What was that viaduct you used for years ago?
That viaduct was used, the trains used to go on it, the trains used to go from Borris. I even went to Knock in Mayo from there. And it used to draw beet up from way below, I can't think of the place in Wexford now, down below Wexford. And it came on up every evening. The train would come up, they used to load the beet on the wagons in Borris and down, oh yes, Passage, there's a passage, down to Passage. And they used to come on up, the train used to come through that viaduct, up along the viaduct there and into Borris. The station was at the end of that line, it was at the end of the line, the station was. And they used to load the beet on wagons. And the train would come up every evening and collect the wagons and go on to the beet factory in Carlow.
Do you remember it?
I remember it real well. I lived out the road. I'll show you where we lived out the road. But when we lived out the road, we used to run. When we'd hear it coming up in, you could hear it about 2 miles away. But we used to run up. And we'd stand on the bridge there. The big steam train would come. And you'd hear her coming through the cuttings, especially if a frosty night, when there'd be frost on the track and she'd start spinning. Oh, I did for years. I went to Knock on that line, from Borris to Knock in Mayo, Knock Shrine. And I went to Crow Park on that train when I was a young fellow. I was only 6 or 7 years of age. And I went to see a football match in Crow Park.
What year did you go to Knock?
Oh, I was only what? I was only about 6 or 7, 8 years of age, I'd say. My mother was going. You were supposed to go to Knock 3 years, one after the other, and you get you'd be saved for life. And went out with my mother. We went once or twice in a car, but we did definitely went on the train once. The train went as far as Claremorris. You got half in Claremorris and you got a bus out to Knock. And that's the way it worked.
Jesus. You were 7 or 8 years of age, were you?
I was about 7 or 8 years of age at the time.
And how old are you now?
84.
Oh man. Were you reared out this part of the country?
I assure you, I out the country here in a place called Canal, Borris. Canal, Borris. You're going up what the place to call now. We're going up now. We're going up Ballymurphy. They call it Ballymurphy.
This place here?
Yeah. And I just bring you up now. That's the bridge. There's a walk all along that railway track now as far as there.
Yeah.
And the history of the railway track is on the bridge there, of a walk on it.
Yeah.
And between that bridge and this bridge up here, I'll show you this bridge up here now. They used to call it the cuttings. The cutting. They dug it out years and years when they were making the railway.
And was there a place nearby called the Fillin?
Called
the Fillin?
No.
No. Sometimes at home we'd have a place called a cutting and then you'd have a place called the Fillin as well.
No.
Because what they cut out they filled.
And there is the cutting now. If you go out now, if you step out there now and look down there, that, you'd see the cutting. Or if you want to see how deep it is.
I will, I'll go out there and have a look.
And that carries on up and it comes out into the open about 3 or 4, another 100 yards up the way there. It comes out into open country, heading on for a place called Ballymurphy. Ballymurphy to Inch down St. Mullins.
Oh, that's where it went. The train went as far as St. Mullins.
Oh, the train went off down to Wexford, down to
New Ross.
No, the other way now, to the left.
Clonroach.
No. Oh, not Bridgetown. Your Bridgetown is way off down.
Wellington Bridge.
Wellington Bridge. The train went to Wellington Bridge. That's where it started off collecting the beet. There was a turntable in Wellington Bridge. When the trains came down along there, they went to Wellington Bridge and they had a turntable on it. They used to be able to turn the train to come back up.
So
And now we were going to school and we'd be looking out in the school window in Borris there when you see the trains going down on the viaducts and they're bringing down the empty wagons in the morning. They'd be delivering the empty wagons for the beet. And in the evening then at 6, 7 o'clock of a winter's night, you'd hear them coming back up with the loads of beet around Christmas time. And be drawn up loads of beet to the sugar factory in Carlow. They could have what? They used to have, I'd say 14 or 15 good big long wagons of beet. Sometimes when they had so much of it, they had two engines pulling them.
Did you ever see 2 engines pulling?
I did. I saw them going up along there. And down along there in that cutting, of a frosty night, and you'd hear her coming on up Ballymurphy, and we used to have bikes. And we'd tear up on the bikes and we'd stand there on that bridge to see her coming up along there. Well, the next thing they did a puff of smoke come over, you know, the way they were throwing the coal into her that time to keep her going. And they did a puff of smoke, and your face would be black when you turn around with the coal. And we used to love coming up on the bikes to look at them, going up at night.
All the way from Wellington Bridge to here.
Wellington Bridge to Carlow.
Just you were only a chap then, were you?
Oh, dear, there was only a chap. Sure, was only 8 or 9.
And when did that stop, Christy?
Sorry?
When did that stop?
The trains.
Yeah.
I'm not able to tell you now exactly. But if you did go down that walk, I have a walk bed there now on the viaducts before you get onto the viaducts, and it tells you all about it. And there's a whole lot of photographs and all to have up with the history of the train on the viaduct there.
Yeah.
Oh, a lot of visitors comes to walk that walk now, especially if it's Sunday.
And you grew up this road here, was it?
No, not this one. The one I'm going to turn here now.
Yeah.
I'm going back down now.
What's this part of the country called?
This part of the country is called Kiln. I'll tell you, have you 15 or 20 minutes now? I want to go.
I do.
I want to feed 13 bullocks.
Right, so we'll do that.
Is that all right?
Of course it is.
And I'll bring you up to the young that has a farm up here.
Yeah.
And he farmed, but he's working in Condies at the moment. And I do have to go out to feed the cattle, and I didn't get to go out this morning. So we'll go on up here and to the farm and we'll feed the cattle, and then we'll go back down to Clashganny. How is that?
That sounds good to me.
Huh?
That sounds good.
Okay.
Did you do a bit of farming when you were a young lad?
When I was down in Clashganny Mills in the beginning, I used to feed about 40 or 50 pigs. They had bunions. They used to rear bunions down in Clash.
Right.
And they used to fatten the pigs in the yard.
Do you ever remember years ago calling in the pigs? Would you say harsh jock, har har har? How did you call in pigs?
No, the pigs were housed.
How were they?
They were housed all the time. Yeah, they were. They used to buy minnows bunions and then rear them up until be what, 14 or 15 stone weight. And then Mackie at the roar used to come and collect them.
What was that man's name?
Mackie.
Mikey. And where was he from?
Down the roar.
Oh, the Roar. Oh,
Kilkenny.
yeah. Kilkenny man, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the end of the pigs.
But that was the pigs. Well, then they used to get more right. They used to be coming and going and...
Yeah. Did you keep a few hens and cattle and things yourself?
No, I didn't. No.
No.
We were a big family. There were a big family of us now. There was 15 of us in it all together.
Jesus. Where did the rest of your brothers and sisters go to at all?
My brothers and sisters, as Connors, we grew up, they moved out. when the other batch was coming on. You know what I mean?
I do.
When we were young, there was brothers and sisters of mine gone to England, and the eldest chap, John, he was in the Air Force in Belfast. Then when he gave up there, he started to work with Aer Lingus in Dublin.
Was he fighting? Was he involved in the war? Was he? Was he in the war?
No, he wasn't in the war. I don't think he was now. I don't think so.
And could you remember all your brothers and sisters' names?
I would. Be God.
What were their names?
I have a photograph of them at home now, and those Ollie, Kevin, Eamon, Frank, Christy, Jim, Joe, Martin, Pat, Willie, Peter, Mick, John. There's 3 girls. Ali, Kahi and me.
Has there many been passed on, Christy?
There's over half of us now.
Right.
There's 6 or 7 left now.
Right. Are they local? Are they living local?
A good few of them local now. They came back from England and they're living at home now. Well, they built houses, got married.
There was no work years ago.
Sorry?
There was no work years ago, or very little of it, was there?
It was very well, they all had jobs, all the same. All.
Good. Did you go to England for work though, Christy, did it?
They did all of them one thing then. Yeah, they did. My 3 sisters and 4 or 5 of the brothers and all went that.
Yeah. And you worked in the mill, did you?
I worked in Clashganny Mills. I went down when I was 14 years of age. Now I'm going to open this gate and I can't allow the dog because he'd bite you. He's a cross little dog, that's why he is. And he'd be looking to get out. This is my son's place now. Peter is his name.
Yeah.
Now I have to get 2 buckets of ale and we'll go on up and have a gander. So he goes up to feed him.
So every morning you do this, would you?
Every morning while he's walking, and he'll be walking for about a couple of weeks during the harvest, that's all. Huh?
Yeah.
Back in now.
This is a great machine, isn't it?
Ah, she's a great machine. She's great for doing jobs like this, especially with an old man that can sit in and drive on.
When did you start driving?
When did I start driving? I started driving when I went down to class at 15 or 16 years of age. I got a tractor license. I had a Ferguson 20. And from there on, then I had a driver's license all my life. Never lost it. Don't drink.
Did you smoke?
Huh?
Did you smoke?
I did. I smoked all right for a few years. Especially when I gave up Clash, and Clash closed down, I went off steel erector in Thompson's and Carlow. sheds.
They're all gone now, aren't they, the Thompsons?
I'm just looking at him on the nurse this week where they're after putting a big bridge across the Shannon below in Killaloo. A very big job.
Right.
Oh, they're still going strong.
Good, I didn't know that.
Still going, yeah, no. Waiting for the group. Mulroney's lived there. Jimmy Mulroney owned it.
Jimmy Mulroney.
Jimmy Mulroney.
Mulroney.
Yeah. So you think them are happy enough now? You hungry, boss? You hungry? Huh? I'll walk away.
Exactly.
Come on now, come on. Come on. Come on, come on, come on.
So, the houses here behind us, who lived there?
Oh, just a woman's name was. The ticket was Hendricks. Hendricks and Maroney's. God, you're going back a lot of years now. Years and years ago. And they came down that little lane we were after coming down and they went into the house there. Too small. Oh, shit, there were only 2 rooms in them. In each of them. And that's how I remember them. I don't remember Maroney's living in it. But when I do remember a woman and man that lived in that one there. And I nearly think it's Hendricks. My wife would know him a lot better now. She used to come up and visit when she was only a child, and my wife was 80 years of age. Helen is her name. And she used to come up to visit him. Sure, they were living on nothing that time. And the dipping tub at the back of the house there, and Jimmy Mulroney used to dip the sheep in it. And I often came up and they'd be dipping sheep in it and they'd give me a hand to dip sheep in it. But that's all gone now. The remains of the dipping tub is in there, but the little well, they got the water out of the well to fill the dipping tub. It's not a very big dipping tub now. And they got water out of the well. The well is just inside that scarp there. And then it flowed down. A man came to drain this field they're standing in now. And the water came down from the well and over to that ditch there. I went down along that ditch there. There's only a water trough there now. It went all down that whole way down to the bottom below, to the river. We'll give a drive down to the river now if you like.
Yeah. And was the well stone lined?
She was a round thing with stone around it, and you just went down and dipped the bucket in it and they drew water up over it. And down below in the farmhouse, that farmhouse below is not long done up, but below the farmhouse down another field was another spring well where they used to draw the spring water out of it for the tea. Aye. And they catch rainwater then to wash the clothes, and you know, the usual, the same as went on everywhere.
And the dipping tub, was that dug down into the ground.
The dipping tub was dug down into the ground, yeah.
What was it lined with?
Lined with stone. Oh, stone, yeah. There'd be a plaster upon it. Oh, it wasn't a very long one now. It was only about 3 times the length of the owl, like, you know, when you turn her in and dip her up and dip her down and let them on out again.
How deep would it be? 2 foot, 3 foot?
It was around, surely 3 foot. Say that, yeah. It was around that, yeah. But very short. They had a very short swim in it. When you put them into it, you dipped them down and there were steps coming up over it and they went on over themselves.
That was up here.
And that was up there.
And tell me this, did you ever come across haggard stands up here?
A what?
The stands where you put the oats on years ago.
They're there.
They're not.
They're in there at the dipping tub.
Where?
They were round stone affair. And had a pole standing up in the middle of it. And they came and they put the hay up on the poles and made a cock out of it. Well, there was 3 of them in there, and the remains of them are still in there. If you root for them now, the remains are still in there because I often looked at them. Will
we have a look? Do you have time?
I don't mind. I have plenty of time.
Why don't we have a look? We might close that gate to keep them bullocks in, will we?
I'll when they came down, when they were living here years and years ago, it was lined across there with the great stonework up as far as that. You see that line there? Went right across to the house. Lovely cut stone across the whole way to the house. That was going into one house. And it went right across here now. That went into that one over there. If we go this way now, we see the well. With a windy walking stick.
You want my arm, Christy?
No, I got married now. The well was in there. You see that hole there?
Yeah.
Down there. You've got the stonework. You see it's sort of a square. That's where the well was. And it goes dry now this time of the year for maybe till the rains come again and you have heavy rain. And the springs will start to open up, and then you can see it here, and you see it going down and down to the well there below and on down to the river. Oh yeah, and never got water there the whole year bar for maybe a month this time of the year. Go on with yourself, go on now. Go on. Go. That's where it was there now. Now if over here, haven't spoiled. That was the other house now. And the other house was here. There were only a 2-room house, I think. I don't know how they managed them. But there was the little windows into it. And there was the fireplace in there. And this was the entrance in. The door was here. And you went to the left. And I think that was, one was a bedroom, the other was a kitchen. Sure, they weren't too small, they weren't too bad. Mind yourself with that barbed wire there.
I see, Christy, they had a spy hole here, look.
Huh?
They had a thing called a spy hole. For looking out when they were behind the fire. You'd see them in Wexford. See that little window there?
Yeah.
Did be able to look out the door?
Yeah, if you go in there now, you see the fireplace.
Fireplace.
Go on, yeah. Go on. I'm getting bad on the legs myself.
The stones here down here at your feet, what were they used for again?
I never remember them being used for anti-here, only what they were used for, I'd say. For putting hay on top of them. And there was a pole in the middle of it, and they used to build the hay around it. up into a cock. And I'd be up that height off of the ground, and sure I'd never get a drop of rain, like it'd never be wet on the bottom or anything. It was very good.
So a granite stone up and then a cap on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And there was a ring of them around. There was a ring of them around in it. If you don't go home, if you don't go away with yourself now, you get slapped. Stop, stop. Stop now, stop.
They were here when you were a chap.
Yeah, they were here when I was a chap. We used to be coming up here and looking at them, and
Yeah.
you get slapped now, boss.
He's interested to hold the camera, Christy.
What? You had the little dog, you wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Big cocks of hay there, built out around, and a stick up the middle of them. And they'd never fall then either, you see. They wouldn't fall over at it. Haha.
And the traveller woman put a curse on her.
Yeah.
And then when her baby was born, the two women were pregnant at the time, we heard.
Yeah.
That's the version we heard.
Yeah.
Now, there's any truth in it or not, it's only a story, but...
Well, I heard that story as well now. Yeah.
And what road are we walking on? What's this town's land called?
The what?
What's this town's land called now?
This town's land here is called Lisilican. Lisilican. Lisilican Borris. Or Lisilican Ballymurphy Borris. The Ballymurphy is just there below.
Yeah.
I got very surprised that you didn't know all this place around here.
No, I don't at all.
Oh.
I wouldn't.
You'll never forget it after today.
Weren't the stone walls quite nice around here?
That wall, that ditch was there. And them stones weren't in it really. But the council threw stones here and they shifted that ditch in there. They weren't able to come up here with a combine or nothing. And the council shifted in from 4 or 5 men with shovels and picks. And they dug it along there and shifted the wall in there. I remember that.
God.
I do remember it well. That road that you're standing on now passed up by Holden's yard, and it came from nearly below Ballymurphy and came up there a laneway, and it came up by Holden's house, went up along here, went up that lane above them houses there above, and it swung left down into a graveyard called Kiln. And it was only a little narrow path for a horse and car, and there was pulling off it. There was you'd see a lad coming off there below with a horse and car or an ass and car, wherever he is, and there was a little lay-by in it every so often. You go into the lay-by, you lay him up. All funerals that time used to come up this way. That's back ages, I don't know what year, but years before my time. The funerals used to come up with that, and I up, going to the graveyard in Kiln. And the graveyard in Kiln crossed a river. Oh geez, I'd want a week to walk you through the whole yard. I went across the river below at Kiln graveyard and into Rahana. And there was a little stream, the river. You could drive the horse and car across the river and out at the far side of it and go on into Rahana. And there were any horse car tracks that time. That's always here. I do remember that.
Oh.
With my father. He was a fierce IRA man. He was in diarrhea and into trouble at times. And he was heavy involved in it, and he was very great with the parish priest in Borris. in the troubled times, he told us when we were young lads very, very little about what he done or what he didn't do. But he did tell us that the graveyard in Ballymurphy, now below a beggar man. Beggar men used to go along the road that time, and begging from house to house, and used to sleep overnight in some farmers' houses and things like that. But he died down around Ballymurphy, and the parish priest came out to my father and asked my father would he go over and bury him in Ballymurphy. And the troubles was going on that time, the diarrhea and the shoot and all that, and he went down over. The parish priest came out with him and buried him there, Peter. Didn't go down too far with the poor beggar man, it was 3 foot or 4 foot, wherever it was, and he buried him. And when he died himself, he wanted to be buried in Ballymurphy. And he went into the parish priest in Borris, a different parish priest was in it then this time. He went into him and to the Father Murphy. And he said he wanted a grave in Ballymurphy. And himself and the parish priest went out to Ballymurphy to the graveyard. And he walked over with the parish priest to where he buried the beggar man. He says, that's where I want to be buried. And that's where he was buried.
Beside the poor man.
He got buried himself where he buried the beggar man. And our grave is below in Ballymurphy, now over near the wall. And the grave is there, and that's where the beggar man was buried as well. The troubled times that time. Yeah.
God.
That's where I want to be buried, he said.
And is that where your mother's buried?
My mother's buried, and I have a son gone with him. Peter was his name. Peter was buried in Ballymurphy with him.
Oh God, sorry to hear
And
that.
my mother. And another brother of mine, Pat, is buried right at the back. He has his grave at the back of my father's grave. He's buried there now as well.
And you don't know who the poor beggar man was or where he came from at all?
No,
No.
I do not. No. No, I wouldn't say my father knew either.
Yeah.
And he died anyway. It was winter time, I think. It was very rough weather.
Yeah.
And then the parish priest came out to my father and already buried him. My father went on, I'd say in the middle of the night, I think 12 or 1 o'clock in the middle of the night to bury him. Because the troubles were very active around here that time, down Ballymurphy, so there was 2 and 3 lads shot and all that. The history of the place down around there.
Michael Fay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a good few of them now.
Michael Fay, and who else was the old man Ryan, wasn't it?
The 2 lads got 2 or 3 of them got shot coming across the railway line.
Yeah.
And I remember growing up, and my father, when the trouble times was over, we used to go to Dorrance and Mahullion to pick potatoes when we were only little chaps, maybe 3 or 4 of us. There was somebody of us in it. We used to go down to Dorrance, and there were 2 or 3 of the Dorrans, and John Dorran and Mahullion and my father, and they'd dig out a drill of potatoes and we'd pick them, and you could be picking for 2 days in it. People had an awful lot of potatoes that time. But we were finished one evening, and so we were tricking around the field, young lads, and John Dorran and my father went down to the ditch, and they looked in the ditch, and my father took off his hat and John Dorran took off his cap, and they were looking into the skyocks. We didn't know what they were doing, but we went down and asked them. I asked my father, say, what is that? He said they were saying prayers for the boys that got shot that came across the railway, and they were looking into the skyocks, and we went down to look in then, and there was a stone cross on the ground of stones in the skyocks in the ditch where they were shot coming across the railway. They were making for home.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't think of their names now.
There was one man called Michael Fay. Michael Fay by Barrow's Banks. He joined the ranks of the IRA. There's a great song called Malone Again. Did you ever hear that song?
That's right. Malone Again down below, yeah.
Poor old Ellie Cummins told me the song. Did you know Ellie?
Eddie Cummins.
Ellie.
Ellie.
She's passed away since.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Milan again.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Cross Milan young.
yeah.
But my father never budged much to us as young lads or a family are talking about who got killed or who got shot or who got hunted. And he was very much involved, but I had an uncle, Uncle John, a brother of my father's. But he was real well up in it. You know, he was well up with De Valera and all now. He was. He used to carry a revolver. And they taught me, I inquired about the revolver back a few years ago. And Ned the ladies, Borris, the ladies had a petrol station in Borris, Ned. And I asked Ned said, I had John's revolver, he said. So he had, yeah. He says it's in the museum in Carlow. He said, that's where it went, he said. So, that's all I know now. My father never taught us anything, or never taught us stories about what happened along the road or on the road. And actually, you may stay here for a couple of months. Come on with yourself.
We get that yoke out of the field first, will we?
Yeah, we will.
Tell me about the Frockins again.
The Frockins in Coonrog. Coonrog was a great place for Frockins. And Bennett's at Hinch used to come out there with a little small truck and a few birds in it, and he'd buy the Frockins off you, half a crown a stone. And the Frockins is that you used to go out into the wood, and you go up the wood in Coonrog, and all the Frockin bushes, it's full of them. You sit down in your frockin bushes and you pick your frockins and fill your bucket. And when you had it full in the evening, you went down to a house on the side of the road and waited for Bennett to come out, and he'd pull in with the little pickup, and he'd weigh your bucket of frockins and he'd throw them into the barrel, and you get your half a crown or 5 shillings if you had a couple of stone. But yeah, they used to get a good big white enamel bucket now. You'd have a good white enamel bucket of them now. They were very plentiful in Coonrog, Frockins. They were great. But there was one day I sat down in a big frockin bush and started picking frockins. And the next thing I got up and I went on to another bush and I left the bucket into the middle of the bush. And what came up over it, a swarm of wasps, and ran me over it, bucket and all. I had to leave it there and go away. Oh, they were deadly.
Yeah.
The wasps was deadly.
But the Frockin...
They were after the Frockins as well.
Yeah. But you did a few pound that you wouldn't have. A few shillings.
Well, it was half a crown a stone. You buy 5 shillings. Sure, 5 shillings was a lot of money that time, or a lot of money. My mother used to bring over 2 or 3 of us in an ass and car. We come in that car and tie up that for the day and go off up the wood picking frockins. And come back down in the evening. You know in the evening, the time in the evening, you come down in the evening, everybody be come down off of the wood. Oh yeah, could be 15 or 20 picking up the wood, and you wouldn't see them all day. You might be another one now and then. But the minute in the evening when Bennett had come to buy him, they'd all come down. You meet them all down at the bottom.
There was a neighbour of mine over in Wexford, Jim Byrne, and he used to pick them, and he told me the exact same story as you. They'd pick them over on the Wexford side, and then they'd walk over the hill and go down to and meet that man coming out.
That's right.
He said he used to pick them in the 1940s, the
Yeah,
late 40s.
Late 40s, and I tell you one thing, you used to have good old value in it now. You used to have good old value, all chaps and girls, and the school would be closed, the holiday time in the school. Oh, I think it was around July, August, when we had holidays out of school. We used to go pick frockins in Coonrog. They were on the Blackstairs mountain too, but I never picked up on the Blackstairs. I always only picked in Coonrog. Coonrog was the spot. The road went through it and you could park there, and it was handy. You out and you were in the woods straight away. Yeah.
And did you ever remember Frockin Sunday?
I went to the Patron Sunday. Frockin Sunday there was a Patron on the mountain. We used to go up and beat the Wexford lads. Up there, up that hill there. There it is, the Blackstairs mountain over there. And we used to go up that, to the very top of the Blackstairs there, and a place called Cahir's Den. You ever hear tell of Cahir's Den? We used to go up around Cahir's Den and there'd be a pattern. And then meet the Wexford lads and we'd have a chat with the Wexford lads. And sit down and all that and talk to them and come back down the mountain then again in the evening. And there was a stage at the bottom of the mountain here at this side. Irish music. Matt McCabe used to run it. And they'd have a couple of accordions and they're playing Irish dance music at the bottom. And they stayed there until dark nights of a Sunday night. Then they'd all ramble off home. There used to be a good few bikes that time. They'd have a bike. It is. Oh, God help me.
Yeah. Did you ever make a tart with the fraughans?
No, but I did eat tart. My mother and I often went into another house, I don't know which house it was, and they used to make. They were nice enough.
A frockin tart.
Frockin, you'd want a good bit of sugar on them and all, and sweeten them up. Anyway, I'll tell you, we were glad to get hunting that time.
Now we've got too much.
No, they have too much. It's great. Have the yard. Come on, we get the tractor here.
Do you remember the Tran water years ago?
I do remember the tram water. It was Easter water. We used to go into the church in Borris after Easter Sunday or Easter, and we get a big bottle of water and we used to bring it home and we go out and spread it on the crops, spray it on the potatoes and throw it in. Yeah, it did big hour. All people used to do it that time. A lot of people. The oldish people was always on for tram water. Used to always get it. There'd be a big vat of it left outside the church inside. And you bring in your bottle and fill your bottle and bring it on out with you. Be there for about a week. You could go in whenever you like and get it and come out and go on and spread it on the crops. Especially the potatoes nowadays. So I suppose that was an account of the time the potatoes failed, I suppose, always after that.
And was there a certain date? Did you spread it on May Eve or was it the rogation days?
No, you could go on any time after Easter. You could go on and get the tram water and go out and spread it around on the crops. Just sprinkle something, the fields.
Did you ever see a little Tran?
I can't say I remember now. Little Tran is not very long. It's only about 2 inches long. They're still out, another one. They are. I saw it, especially if you plough lay land now, old lay, you get trans in it. And if you see the crows coming, a lot of crows, there could be trans in it. Crows, you pick them up. And I see a field now and I'll bring you up to see it if we get out of it. And I see where the crows was rooting a lot in this very old sod. Rooting it up, and I'd say it's trans they're after. I'd say it is now.
And you were telling me as well, in the barns, where the cows would get ringworm, you'd hang a bit of holly.
Yeah. We were here one time when our cattle used to get ringworms. As a matter of fact, I got ringworms on my knee, myself, from crossing gates. And we were talking to an old man. He says, go, he says, and get a bunch of holly, he says, and tie it up in the shed, he says, and you won't have any ringworms. We went off and we got up the lane and tied it in the shed. We never had cattle with ringworms since. Maybe there's doses now that they don't get ringworm, but he said we never had it since. So there must have been something in it, I don't know. What happened in I hit the suitcase off of something and broke the bottle of poachine in on top of me clothes. The smell of poaching off of me. The smell of poaching.
Show me the loop you're putting on.
Huh?
Show me the loop.
We're on that way. cross her there and come up here and pull her. Don't do any more with her now.
Do you remember the Rosary?
Do I remember the Rosary? Yeah, my mother would ache if you weren't home for it. Get down on your knees and say the Rosary every night. Oh my God, I did. And I do remember Jim Byrne of Canal was head milliner in Clashganny Mills. And as Jim Byrne went to say prayers and say the Rosary, he'd pray for everybody in the parish. But there was a man by the name of James Maney of Canal. And James Maney used to go to the houses at night, visiting the house. And he used to go to Jim Byrne's rambling. And Jim would come up to Byrne's and he'd put his ear to the door. He'd listen to see was Jim starting the Rosary. And if he was starting the Rosary, he'd go off for himself. He wouldn't wait around because he'd be there for too long. But that was the Rosary. Sure, everybody had to say the Rosary that time. The family Rosary, yeah. And yeah.
Do you ever remember years ago they'd be blessing the tractor when they got the tractor first, or blessing the binder or any of that kind of crack?
I remember very little of it now. I just remember people all right. The women, of course, was always like that one of the old ladies that go out and bless the tractor or bless the plough so as nobody get hurted and that sort of a thing.
Do you ever hear them saying things like, "Here we go now in the name of God"?
Oh yeah, always. Yeah.
Here we go now in the name of God.
Let's start now in the name of God.
Let's start. When would you say that?
You were going out to do a job. So you were going out to pick potatoes or you were going out to split sticks here, you are now in the name. We'll start now in the name of God. And a lot of oldish people had always blessed themselves before they even start the job, wouldn't they? St. Angelus that time, 12 o'clock in the day. You'd be listening to see, could you hear the bell in Borris ringing at 12 o'clock, time for you to say the Angelus.
And would people stop?
They stopped for a few minutes while they be saying the Angelus. The hat caps would come off and they'd say the Angelus, back on the caps and away they went working again.
Do you remember the blessed candles years ago? Or the blessed salt?
I remember the salt. There was a, what do you call them, in Kilkenny. What were they called? Were they called friars or something?
Mm-hmm.
They used to come around blessing salt and holy water once a year. You give them a few shillings. They'd bless it in the house and leave it here. Salt and water. This is Ballymurphy you are in now. You're passing by the school in Ballymurphy now. And you're going up here by the hall. I just came over here to show you this real quick. As we go over here now, do you see that river we're crossing now? We're crossing a stream there.
Yeah.
That stream in there goes to the mill in Clashganny Mills, where you're going to go to someday. And it came down there, down from the mountain, up in Raggyard and off up the mountain. That's where it rose, above it, the Bow Mountain and stuff. And it went down along there, and off down the fields there, and into the sluice gates at the top of Clash.
Was there a name on it, Christy?
I think there is a name on it, but I don't know the name now. And nearly all the rivers now they have them named, but I don't know the name of that one now. But there was a big wheel there above. Let me come another little bit. And I think they haven't gone over now. They have the fucking wheel. They have the house used to be there, just up there above. And the mill wheel. The water came down came down along that valley there, come up on the mountain.
There's the mill itself over there, the stone building.
It was over there, it was now. Is there a bit of building left over there still?
There is, yeah.
Yeah,
There is.
yeah. And that was a mill wheel one time. There was a mill wheel in that.
What was the name of the mill, Christy?
I don't know. This is Ballymurphy Hall now.
Yeah.
And we're going to turn now and we're going back.
Was there any, when I'm thinking of turning there now, I know some old fishermen at home, they wouldn't turn a certain way in their car because of being out in the boats. Was there any superstitions with you when you worked in the mills? Any old fish hooks?
No, not really. No, but that river there, the salmon used to come up with the spawn. They go to the mountain.
They would not.
Up that river there. And they before they came into Clashganny, came up the river in Clashganny, and that's the same river. And they go up there, and they go on up there another 2 or 3 miles before the spawn at the bottom of the mountain. The spawn.
And did you ever see salmon in that river?
I took them over several times. I'll tell you what happened, how I took them over. I didn't steal them over or anything. But when the mill was going below in Clash, did a flood of water come down? Like you have heavy rain for 2 or 3 days and that river there would be flooded, coming down off the mountain there. And the salmon would be trying to go back. They'd be off their spawn. They'd be on the way back. And they went in under the sluice gates and into the mill stream. Now if it went into the mill stream, no way would it get back to the sea water below in St. Bullers. No way would it get back. So I used to be often going up to those sluices and you see 4 or 5 salmon trying to make their way back down to be in pools of water. And I often got in and took them out the mill stream and put them into the back river. The back river headed down on for St. Mullins into the Barra below in Clashganny. If they got back to the sea water, they'd clean themselves off again. They'd be all out scales. You couldn't go near them when they were going back. They'd be going bad. But if they got back to sea water, that tells me that they cleaned themselves off. The sea water would wash them off. Well, there was a lot of salmon in the Barra that time. Well, they used to come up that river and there was a good few. There was a lot of trout in Clashganny River that time. You wouldn't see one in it now.
Would you see a salmon in it now?
No, not no. I'd say too much slurry spreading and too much slurry going into it from farms, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think myself.
And the salmon had spawned up that far?
Salmon would go up very under the mountain to the sandy place and the spawn in it.
And would you know the spot where they went up to the mountain?
Oh God, you would, yeah. You'd know the spot when they go up to the mountain, but lads come along the river there. They used to get another one going up. You can get him going up, you could eat him. You couldn't eat him coming back down.
Because after all the eggs would be gone.
Yeah.
God. And sure, then the young ones would come back down the river then in time, wouldn't it?
Oh, the young ones that come back, yeah. The fry they call or whatever they used to call it. They come back down and onto the Barra and they come back up then I suppose themselves as salmon. I don't know really the whole.
Did you ever see any eels in the river?
I did. Oh God, there was a good few eels in Clash River. In the both the Bill stream and the back stream.
And would they do the same? Would they go up to spawn or no, they go off to spawn somewhere else, don't they?
Oh, the eels.
Yeah.
It tells me the eels used to cross country to spawn. Did you ever hear tell of that?
I did.
Huh?
Granny used to say if you got up early enough in the morning you'd see the eels out grazing the grass, she said.
yeah. I used to hear that too. And I used to go across the fields into and I tend to used to go miles and miles.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I used filtering off that.
The mist in the window. And would it be, do you ever remember lads years ago eating the eels?
I remember going down to the barra, and the lock gates on the barra, the boatmen or lads used to set nets on the lock gates. You know where you wind the lock gate to let up, to let water in? They put a big net with a big long pole over it, and it let the water, they up the winch, and the water would come flowing out, and it had dry eels along the bottom and into the net.
God.
And when they were in the net, then they take them out, and they used to have tanks in what they call the back train, and they used to put them in the tanks in the back train. We very often saw very big eels down there. You have to catch them, and they bring them off in the tanks. Oh, they're making good money.
Did you ever eat it?
Oh yeah, eels, yeah. And caught 'em, fish for them.
Did you ever bob for eels?
I did. Bobbed with a train. You put the maggots on the train. How do you know about the bobbing?
I mean, my own grandmother said they did it when they were younger. They'd bob for them. They'd bob for eels, they said, yeah?
Yeah, in the flood. There'd be a heavy flow, good water, heavy flow in the water, and you had enough of an ash stick, and you put train, and you put the maggots up the train, and the eel would come and he'd swallow the maggot and the train, and you lift him up over it.
It'd be a little bit like when a hen would get the pip.
When we were young lads, we done everything that was going, was it? Don't fishing for eels, perch, and perch were too nice, to a lot of scales on them.
Did you ever see the eels bobbing in the or jumping in the pan?
She turn up, you ain't were alive, sure. You ain't were alive, they would turn around, and it was nice white meat though.
Yeah.
Did you eat them?
Yeah.
Did you? Yeah. Oh God, they were nice.
Did you ever skin them? How did you skin them?
A brother of mine was in there.
Yeah. How did you skin the eels, eh?
I don't know how to skin them, tell you the truth now. My mother used to cook them and we used to eat them.
Did you eat much rabbits as a young lad?
Oh yeah, I used to love them. So the country lived on the rabbits. Going over the lamp at night, catch a few. Especially if it was wet days and windy and rain.
Why was that?
It says a good windy night to go out lamping and raining, that the rabbits wouldn't hear you come. You get the wind in your back blowing against you and go with the lamp. A rain night, the rabbits would really be out of a bad night. I don't know why. Oh Lord, sure. We used to love going out lamping. There's our river now that we're after crossing in Ballymurphy.
Yeah.
And there's the old bridge. This is a new bridge round, but what Clashganny Mills and now is going great. That's the old bridge there, just outside of there. See the two walls there?
I do.
There's a year on that bridge, fraughans, someplace I think. And that went around there and on over and up Clashwood, what they call Clashwood. You're never in Clashwood.
No, never
But
heard
you're
of
here now at Clashganny Mill. That's what they call the back stream.
Yeah.
Now you're coming up to the mill stream, the one that came down from the weir above and drove the mill. Was here. See this bridge here?
We do.
That's the river up along there that came down. You look up along there, you see a river?
I do, yeah.
That's the river that came down to drive the mill.
God.
And it went in there. And you see it down there below. You want to go into that field now to have a look at it.
Yeah.
And there was a weir there below. And a sluice gate just down there. If we were going around the next day, we could walk out to see that. Your man would probably bring us to it. But this is the mill stream now on my right hand side along there, where the water used to come down to drive the mill. And down below at the bottom there, going back up over the whortleberries, is the back stream. That is the river like. And it went down by the mill, called the Blackstairs, but the near one here was the mill stream. There was nothing there along there on a timber paling. You could see the whole yoke there for years.
God. And you worked here as a chap, did you?
I worked here as a 14-year-old, or 15. Right there was a weir there. We might get to see it the next day. There was a weir there in the sluice gates. And if a big flood of water came down, you'd have to lift up the sluice gates, or you'd have too much water, she'd burst the banks. The river would burst the banks. And if you hadn't enough water coming down, you let down the sluice gates. If you had too much, you'd go over the weir. And it went down here, and it got deeper and deeper from here down, and got a bit wider. There's the mill there.
It's here. Gee, she was a big mill.
That's only half it. Half it knocked and gone out.
Good. And
That there were none of them, there were nothing of that there. Your man saw them, I think, and there were nothing there on a timber railing. You could go out and look into the mill there, which you can't now. But when the mill came down to there, roughly there now, it turned into the turbine. The turbine was just down there below. Down under the ground, there's a big drop into the yard now, down there. And it went in to the turbine. That's where the turbine was. But when it came down there, it was very deep and it's wider there, and there was a concrete floor and concrete walls at both sides just to stop the water and hold the water, back it up the river. So you'd have it for the mill. But in the front of it was a steel grid that used to catch those bushes and the boughs and all that had come down in the river. You used to have it, you'd have to bring out a rake and rake them off it and lay them into it. But that's where it went into the turbine. The turbine, I'd love to, I will have to get in.
We'll come back in another day.
The shop.
There
was a shop there.
No way.
A shop right there. Yeah, right there opposite. There's the steps going up to Clashganny House. That's the restaurant now.
Yes, that's
Clashganny House. A man from Wexford bought that. He's doing real well in it.
Good.
Very great place to eat.
Good.
Very expensive, but great food altogether.
Good.
Now, from there down, that he done that up now. He has it a sort of outlaw in a apartment. From there down to that lower gate below, there was a row of buildings with slate roofs on it to the very end below. Do you see the top of the wall there?
I do.
The roof started there on it, and there was a door down here below, and you used to pull in trailer loads of hay, and there was lofts on them, and down under the lofts was the stables for horses, years and years ago. Stable for horses, and you put in the hay and the straw there, and when you wanted to feed the horses, when they wanted to feed the horses, I didn't, you went in the door here with your fork or your sprong, and you turned the hay and straw down into the manger for them. It was fantastic. The first part of it here now, about the length of that, half the length of that, was the stores. And Odlums used to come deliver flake maize or presto that time, and Paul and Vincent's mail and flour, and they used to come, and there was a door there going into a big store. There was the shop and the offices for the mill, where Mrs. Hughes used to be in the office. And to the left and to the right then was the shop. used to sell hardware, milk, sugar, tea, fags, all that. And on the left-hand side of it was the office. She had a lovely office in it. She was always sitting up in the office there herself. And there was a place for testing corn, for doing the barley and oats and all, for busheling it and all that in there. But the farmers used to come down along here with their horse and car, and they come with maybe 3 or 4 bags of corn in it.
Yeah.
To be rolled or ground.
Yeah.
And they come down this way here. I had a lorry in there. Pat Byrne used to drive it. There was a petrol pump. That steps now goes all up to the house. That's the old time steps up to Clashganny house at the time.
Yeah.
But there, right there, you see the rough part of that wall there now.
Yeah.
It's filled in now. But there were petrol pumps there for the lorry. She was driven on petrol. And you used to have to come up to put the petrol in the lorry, and inside there was a petrol pump, and you wound the handle. And she'd put in a gallon or so, but you'd have to go back, reverse, and start again, and then you get another gallon. That's the way she was built.
What year was this, Christy, roughly?
Oh, just back in 60s, 1960 or so, or a little bit before it.
And who owned the petrol pump, Christy?
Users did, they go out for the lorry.
So it's their own lorry with their own petrol.
And they had a there was another little house there, only a flint of stone, and there was a tank up on it for the tractor diesel. And you drove in there to the yard, and there's the garden down there. I tried to get in there the other day and I couldn't get in. I used to always get into it. Fuss!
Wait, come here to me. When did you work here, though?
In 1950, it was on the 14 in 54. I left school when I was 14 and came to work here. I'd say around 55, 56. I came here.
And did any of your brothers or did your father work here?
No one. I was the only Hynes worked it.
And what did you do, tell me?
I came here first and I was inside there, and as I was telling you, all along that place there, they had pigs in it, and I used to feed the pigs morning and evening, fattening pigs. And on the other side you can see his house he built up.
Yeah.
When you went in there was a whole row of sheds along the left hand side, very low sheds, and they used to put the coal in it. That say coal used to come from Ross, and the hard coal used to come from Comer or up from place in Laois there.
The Swan, was it?
Swan, yeah. And you go up and the tip up, you come down with a lorry load and you have to offload with a shovel and throw it into 3 different places in the shed there. And the farmers and lass and cars and horse and cars, they come down and they'd want 100 of coal, and they'd have an order for 100 of coal, maybe a bag of presto and some wheaten meal and some, different things, groceries. And there was a scales on it, one of them, them round scales with the 56 pound weights on them and the 14 pounds. Then you weighed out the 100 of coal, tipped it into a bag and put into the horse and car. And when you went over farther, where the new house is there now, that was the lorry shed. And that the lorries used to be in there, not like that now. It was a low shed, and drive the lorry in it. There's only barely room for the lorry. On the river if you go get now, the river from the mill, it's going down under that house, the middle of that house, down under it, and it's flowing down that garden there, the middle of that garden there. That was as fine a garden as you ever saw. And there's a drop in that garden there, going down to the river. And along where the water used to come out of the mill, there were paths. And it was stone lined up both sides, the river. And it went out under the wall there, on the far end of them trees, and headed down to the barrow. And that was the back stream, went into the back stream. You see them trees growing there,
Yeah.
them trees around that garden in my time was about 5 foot high or 6 foot high in a box section. What the break of them, there were silver birch or something like that. They were always kept clipped down. Never got to grow up only about 4 or 5 foot. Along by the river, the back river, and the near one. But since the mill closed and since Clash closed, they're after grown up to that. Yeah.
And what year were you here again?
In 1955 and 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. And 61, 62, 63, 64, I think it closed in 64.
And people locally would come around and get a bag of wheat and meal ground, would they?
Huh?
Would people come around to get a bag of meal ground up for them, or a bit of barley ground up, or a bit of
Oh,
corn?
they used to come in horse and cars and they'd have, after the thrasher, they'd have 4 or 5, and farmers used to store it on their own old lofts and tow them, and they get into 4 or 5 bags and they come down with 4 or 5 bags to get rolled or ground, one or the other, for the cattle.
Mm-hmm.
And when they're making the wheat meal in there, the flake meal in there, they get a stone or 2 of flake meal as well. And Con Kelly, the pig farm, you don't know that place, I'm up in Ballytide. Very big pig farm, that's where your man is. He was married to a Hennessy, Behy Hennessy. And over on the farm, I don't know many acres in it, but he had huts for sows. And the sows used to be over there farring, having buns. And Connor come on over with a bag and he go down and he get flake maize for the little young buns. He used to feed the young buns on flake maize for I don't know how many weeks. And he used to be feeding pigs over there. There was a man across the way there, Tom Rebens the Clash. And Tom used to farm over there. And Tom used to come across the river with a white bag, and he get a big bag of wheat meal for baking brown bread. And a lot of people used to go down here to bake brown bread. They used to make lovely brown bread over it.
I'm going to bring down a big bag.
They'd bring down a 4-stone bag. Tom Rebens was a very strong man. Tom Rebens come across the river there, he'd have a good bag, he had a big family. And he'd get his wheat meal and he'd go back home and they'd bake the brown bread and the open fire with the pan and the creash on top. Did you ever see that done? You did it.
I did, yeah.
Well, that's the way they used to bake it.
You throw it on top of the lid.
Yeah. And the lid on it and they dropped the grease you got it, the hot red grease you got it. But he built a nice house there now.
And that man would come down there with his 4 stone and go home with his 4 stone ground.
He'd go home with his 4-stone bag of flour and wheat meal and he'd leave it up there and the woman would cook, bake bread for maybe a week or 4, and then they come back over for war. Yeah. The lads come with us and cars and horse and cars and they'd be getting a shoulder or stone or 2 of flake meal, or they'd be getting a bag of flour and that's the way it was that time.
Did you bring any home for your own mother?
Oh, what my mother used to come down here and get. Oh, I never brought home, but we used to get though. We used to get the flake maize. When I was in there, a young lad first started off, I used to even eat the flake maize raw. Very little of it now, some of it. It tasted lovely.
Yeah. And how much would it cost to get something ground, do you remember?
Oh my God, I don't know. I think it was very little now. Not too
And would it be done when you're out there? If you come down with your 4-stone bag, would you wait there for an hour until, or would you come back a day later? Or?
What did you get when you come down? There was a loft, 2 lofts inside. One of them was full of the flake maize, and they were always real well looked after, shining. The flake maize would be on the loft. And you go up and come down a chute to you and fill your bag, weigh it up, and away you go.
Yeah.
Same with the coal.
And what was the coal was used for the kiln, was it?
It was.
The kiln.
The hard coal was used for the kiln, and the say coal, people brought home well to put in the fire as well, but it was hard coal was used in the kiln. The kiln was just below where he built the house there now, spanning across the river as well. And when you went up on the kiln, we used to go she used to hold about 16 or 17 barrels of barley, or not barley, of oats, for to make the flake meal. And there was an elevator brought up, and I went in onto the kiln, and the kiln was tiled, about 2 foot square tiles, and it with a whole lot of holes in it. All the holes where the heat used to come up through them to dry it. And the fire was down under it. And you went up, there's somebody. The fire was down under it. But when you'd have to go up in the morning and turn it. Jim Byrne was the miller, his head man. He knew when it was fit to take down or take up, and you go up and you put a pair of old boots on you, because it was so hot you couldn't wear your good boots, and you pull the soles off them. You used to have old boots thrown inside, and you stick on a pair of old boots on you, and you go up a stairs and in on the kiln, and you turned it over and came down off it then, and you weren't allowed to go for half an hour.
God.
Because you'd be too hot, you'd be sweating. And when you had it turned, then Jim Byrne used to come with a big long bar and a poker, and he'd poke out the fire. He'd start her up and dry it, and when it come to take it off, he'd have about 15 or 16 sacks down on the ground floor, and you go up with the shovels and shovel it over, and there was a hatch you pull up, and you throw it out and went down the chute and into the sacks. And it was left down in the mills, 15 or 16 or 17 sacks would be left there. And when you come down off it, then you couldn't be able to put your hand into the bag, it'd be so hot, the oats. You wouldn't be able to go near them. But when it came down off of that, it was left there, you came down off the kiln and all, and Jim Byrne looked after it then. It went on down and into the stones below. The shelling, a shelling stone. There was a shelling stone, one over the other rubbing, with little greens in it, and it used to shell the oats. Take the shell off and you get the little core inside. And that used to come out and into bags. You'd only have about half or a little more when you'd have the shells and all off it. And then Jim Byrne would get that, and there was a roller in there for rolling it. And it was the same roller that rolled the corn for the farmers, but it was a double roller. And one side of it had lovely wheels. You could squeeze them in like, to roll it. But there was a lovely wheel on one side of it, and there was a hopper over it. And when pinhead, they called it whenever you shelled it, pinhead, that'd be up in a hopper. Well, you let that down into the roller, nice and easy, nice and even, and it flattened it out into flake meal. And that's the way. And then when it was down in flake meal, it used to go back up and onto a loft, and then it was left there into a lovely little room.
What would you use the flake meal for?
Flake meal was porridge. Same as Flavins of Kilmac Thomas. It was, and Odlums had a mill in St. Mullins at the time.
Did it?
Did you remember Odlums of St. Mullins?
No.
Ordnance had 3 mills, I remember them well. There was Portarrington, Nace and St. Mullins. I don't know, but they had 4. But there's 3 of them I knew well. Had one in Salons, had one in St. Mullins, and had one in Portarrington. I think they had one in Portlaoise, I'm not sure.
And when people come and buy a stone bag of flake meal,
Oh, the wood. The wood, yeah, the wood, yeah.
did you eat porridge as a chap?
I did. Oh God, I did. It used to be grand, yeah.
Did you ever hear of stir-about?
That's what stir-about, porridge we used to call it.
Yeah,
Stir-about, yeah.
Stir-about, yeah.
Yeah. There was a lot of oats grown along the mountain in Ballymurphy, like where we're off the being up Raggairden and out Coodog and back across into Rahana and all. There was a lot of oats sort along that country that time, and it used to come here. Before I came here, when I was only a chap going to school, they used to be drawn the beet by Canal boat to the sugar factory in Carlow. And they used to come in there, and there's a little main scales in there. Your man has it still, the ruins of it. And it was level with the ground when you went in. But there was a bar coming in, and there was a scales on it. A lad that used to, you ever see them scales that used to move the little brass lad over and back to weigh?
Yeah.
There was one of them in there. They're bringing the horse and Carlow to beat. They had double rims on them that time, these timber rims. They had double rims when they'd be going to the boat. And they'd be around up Tinnycarrig and up Clash and all that horses. And they come down there with their load of beat. They go in there, turn around in the yard and in on the weighbridge. And when they got the car wheels on the weighbridge, they took the belly band off of the horse and the weight off of the straddle, they put stick under the shafts. There was no weight on the horse, and the horse wasn't weighed either. And Jim Byrne, I saw Jim Byrne weighing it now. I don't know whether the sugar company had anyone here weighing it, but Jim Byrne used to weigh it and take down the protectors, and the next thing they come out there and down below, down here to the canal, and tip it up into the boat.
And off to Carlow.
And we used to follow him down, and sure, we were bold old chaps enough. They used to sell cigarettes above in the shop, 5 woodbines. We used to we buy 5 woodbines for hunting at all. There were only, I don't know, they were cheap that time anyway. That's how we got in on the smoking.
Right. Come here, speaking of the canals and going, I have to go soon.
Huh?